me put the microphone on here. I call to order the Homewood Board of Zoning Adjustments for Thursday, January 8th, 2026. Would like to have roll call, please, Mr. Secretary.
All right. Ms. Childs.
Here.
Mr. Nieves.
Here.
Mr. Perkle.
Here.
Ms. Hand.
Here.
Mr. Johnson. Mr. Gear.
Here.
And Mr. Young.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Has all members been given the opportunity to review the draft minutes for December 4th? Is there any requested changes or corrections to that? There's no for that. And I'd like just to ask to get a motion here to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. I'd like to go to the next item of the agenda here would be the communications reports from the chair and vice chair. The only thing I would like to state, just to welcome Mr. Young here to our position here as a supernumerary. Thank you for being here and serving our city.
It is a true privilege. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Ms. Vice Chair, would you have anything to add?
I'm good.
All right. All right, so one of the next things that you get to offer, that we get to go through here is the election process for the 2026 BZA. And so I would like to start off by sharing that as chair, we're going to have this election here at the floor. There'll be some nominations, and we're going to ask Mr. Secretary to preside over that. So.
Okay. All right, thank you. Right, as the chairman indicated, the board's bylaws provide for the election of officers for the coming term, chairman and vice chairman being the positions. So to that end, I'll go ahead and preside over that and open up the nominations for the position of chairman for the upcoming term. Are there any nominations for chair?
I'll nominate Michael Perkle, Chair.
All right, Mr. Perkle has been nominated for chair. Are there any other nominations to be considered? All right. Mr. Perkle, would you consent to serve?
Yes.
All right. In the absence of any other nominations, we'll request approval by voice vote. All those in favor of Mr. Perkle? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Mr. Perkle, congratulations. You've been elected chairman again.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. And I'll turn the chair back over to you to preside over the election of the vice chairman.
You did such a great job. I hate to mess it up here. So I would like just to share that the nominations for vice chair are open here. Can we have any, or is anyone here would like to nominate for vice chair?
I would like to nominate Ms. Childs.
All right. Go ahead, Mr.
Well, it was my understanding that Ms. Childs, were you interested in serving? I had understood earlier that you.
I was going to actually nominate Mr.
Yes. So to that extent, are you preferring not to be considered for that position? Is that correct?
This time I will.
So, would you be willing to withdraw your nomination based on her desire not to serve again?
Yes, I would
All
like
right.
to withdraw.
And then Ms. Childs has nominated Mr. Nieves then for that position.
Yes.
All right, so.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for helping us in that situation here. And I would like to ask, is there any other nominations here for this vice chair position? I'll take that as a no here for the record. I would like to now vote for that for the position here. Could you call,
No, You-
we can openly vote
all-
here? Okay. All those in
Acclamation.
favor for the position of Mr. Nieves as vice chair, say aye. All those that oppose? Mr. Nieves, are you willing to serve as our vice chair?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. So the ayes have it. Mr. Nieves will be the vice chair. Congratulations.
Yep.
That will take us to old business, and currently we have case SV-25-12-04, which is 1707 Reese Street. Can you please approach the podium here, state your name, address, and write that down for us, and present your case?
Good evening. My name is Lynn Shannon with Shannon Waltchack, 230 Swan Drive, Birmingham, Alabama, 35242. I'd like to say I'm almost 60 years old and I still get nervous every single one of these meetings. I don't know why, but thank you all for hearing our case. My first zoning / variance hearing was 33 years ago, and Sam Gaston was a new city manager at Mountain Brooks. I hope it's a good sign that he's here today. We were asked by Alabama Power to help them develop a lot they've owned for probably close to 50 years across from the Battery. And we've spent really the last 7 years doing different entitlements. We've gotten approval from Public Works to improve the right-of-way between Noel Daniels and Dr. Maniscalco, to have that as a one-way entrance in, and to landscape it and to provide parking. And so we've got a development plan before y'all. And we previously, I'm guessing, I don't know if Fred's here, 2 years ago or so, we got approval, variance for landscaping that we have again tonight. And we renewed it for 6 months, but enough time has passed that we are here tonight to ask for a renewal of that variance. And so Brent with Gonzalez Strength can describe more what we're asking for.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind flipping to the third slide. Okay, let's see. Okay, on the left side of the parking lot, basically, the requirement is the perimeter vehicular area have a 15-foot landscape strip between back of curb and the property line. Due to the narrowness of this site, in order to keep the project viable, we're requesting a variance to 5 feet. And we will have 4-foot evergreen shrubs and 15 to 20-foot evergreen trees to help screen it. And in addition to that, there are still going to be remaining trees between the property line and this Central Avenue over to the left there, left side of the screen.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I didn't get your name and,
Brent Pierce, Gonzalez Strength.
was I, yeah,
sorry.
we have a, so the rest of the people can hear your presentation, right?
Okay, well, yeah, I was just saying that a perimeter vehicular area is required between back of curb and the property line on the left side of that parking lot, running vertically up the page there. And we're requesting a variance to 5 feet in order to keep the project viable and have enough parking.
I think the good news, this isn't a part of the variance, that we will be the most overparked retail, probably in Homewood after this, which is a good thing. We need more parking.
Let me just clarify, this is for the landscaping variance request from 15 to 5 feet only, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Would y'all like to have any other presentation moments here to share with us before we open it up for the public?
I don't think so, unless y'all have some questions.
Board will be open for questions here after the public gets a chance. So I'll close that down for now. Open to the public. If anyone has anything they would like to to say in favor of this project, please approach, state your name and address, and as they request to speak into the microphone, please.
Right. And if you would write down your name and address. We'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir. My name is Tripp Galloway. I represent Redfish Properties, which owns the adjoining, hang on, it's hard for me to multitask here. 2200 Woodcrest Place, Birmingham 35209, Suite 315. And I believe there was a question from the dais, and I couldn't hear the response, but I'd like to confirm, because I understood one of the gentlemen making a presentation that the variance sought was a 5-foot variance. And am I correct that it's a 10-foot variance off of 15, what is 15 feet? Okay. The Redfish is the entity that owns the property, the adjoining property on the west, by the Maniscalco family. And Mrs. Dr. Maniscalco has her dental practice there and is tremendously challenged on parking and burdened with creek issues. So she shares legitimate development and just real estate issues. The real estate lawyer in me feels that some of the situation here is self-created because of the amount of square footage sought, leasable square footage, but that's for y'all to determine. What we think it's a drastic cutback to go from 15 to 5 feet, but it's in your wisdom, and apparently this has this 15 to 5 been approved previously and it lapsed, or was there a different variance that was granted before? Okay, so just to make sure that the ordinance only requires 36. And generally, if I'm a developer, I want more parking if I can get it.
Right,
But so the,
but you can't just say, okay, fine, I want more parking because I can get it, so I don't want to landscape any, you know? That would be the rationale why.
the rationale of one opposing, saying there is,
Right,
it's a self-created hardship. We don't want to be a huge fly in the ointment, but that's appears to be what is afoot here. And leave it to y'all's discretion, but it does have to be a hardship in order for it to be granted. And if one is granted, there is a chance, we just ask y'all for historical purposes, that the Maniscalco, which is the building on the right, the Redfish property, there's this really odd canal, I can't think of a better term, it's a cinder block lined, I think, creek that runs under the building next door where the Homewood Bagel attaches to. And so we have barriers. If we go back, we either gotta put a culvert in or do something raised and go over it. And it is possible that we will come for a variance, so we don't want to be hypocrites, but we would like it for the record that whatever the standard is in the eyes of this board of what merits a hardship, that same standard is applied equally to others in the area. Because here it looks as if a variance is granted, that it is going to be not based on traditional irregular shape, irregular topography, lack of some
The
odd
board-
configuration.
Yeah, the board does have criteria that is supposed to apply to every variance. They are supposed to apply those rules to every variance regardless. So if you were to come in the future, the same criteria should be applied to your variance that would be applied in this case.
Understood that about,
So-
that these are the criteria
Yeah.
that should be applied, but the
Yeah.
interpretation of the criteria is what is, I think, our concern. That if there is a deferential attitude towards the situation, that if the hardship that is articulated here is narrowness, when in fact the narrowness still facilitates 70 parking spaces when there are only 36 required, that same interpretation would be one that this board would be open to if we need that, if we seek that, so.
Mr. Galloway, just for clarification, my clarification, as an attorney, who are you representing? You mentioned
As I thought I had said, Redfish Properties.
Redfish Properties, that's an
Yes, sir,
adjacent property?
Redfish is one word, Properties, and then LLC, who is it is the entity that owns the building in which Mrs. Dr. Maniscalco, as opposed to Mr. Dr. Maniscalco, has her dental practice.
That's an adjacent property to
It's
this?
adjacent, yes.
Okay,
It
all right.
used-
You
it used-
mentioned, I didn't quite hear it, so I just.
I'm sorry, it used to be Dr. Tortorisi's, I think,
Okay.
back in the day.
Thank you. I just-
Okay.
Can I ask a question during this period to this gentleman?
I'm happy to field it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was curious, as you mentioned, like the landscaping as well as the parking, that your tenant has issues with. I mean, personally, like, they don't have enough parking for their space. What would happen if all that excess parking on their lot benefited your tenant? Because now there's more parking for her space. Does that outweigh the landscaping issue for her?
I haven't talked to her. My instinct is that would be a fair quid pro quo, that if it was to be approved subject to a suitable cross-parking easement. I mean, the truth is, and we don't want to be these people, but people, my law office used to be right by Mr. Gaston's in Crestline, and when there was traffic court on Wednesday night, my lot would just get inundated. And I'm very sensitive to advocating people parking on other people's commercial property without authorization. So if it were to be approved tonight contingent on a certain number of spaces being allotted for not exclusive, but permissive use by the Redfish property, that would be something that I think my client would welcome. I think we're losing effectively 4 to 6 spaces that that building has used for 40 plus years. The rub is that those spaces are on the, if I may, they're right here, and it's dedicated right of way. But nobody else has any, and now it's gonna be a way in. There will be some parking, but it's gonna be public parking with striping, and we will have to compete, and there will be hourly parking, limitations. So there are challenges that are created for us by virtue of this. We're not trying to be horrific obstructionists. We'd just like to have a seat at the table and be heard.
But there's not currently a cross-parking agreement,
There is not.
and as far as I understand, there's not one being discussed or proposed, correct?
No, ma'am, there's not, but in response to the board member's
Yeah.
inquiry, I offered the thought that I think it would assuage my client a good degree of how she responds to this, which includes the right to file an appeal within 15 days, de novo to circuit court, and ask for a jury trial, that if there were
But it's not her property.
It's her property. I mean, she is a principal in Redfish, so it's not hers individually, but she owns, a good question, I probably didn't clarify this. Redfish Properties is a Maniscalco-owned entity by she and her husband. She practiced dentistry in that building. So it is there's a common relationship between the landlord and tenant, which I apologize, I should have probably clarified that. This isn't, you know, John Smith, who lives in Hoover, who owns this building, and we're a tenant, and Dr. Maniscalco is a tenant. This is, the landlord's interest and the tenant's interest in the dental office are one and the same, 100%.
So let me clarify, you mentioned you would lose several parking spots, but if you were losing parking spots, that would have been on your property. That's not the case. You're losing parking spots that are currently on someone else's property?
They're public, it's a stub dead end. It's the dead end, and it's ish paved, runs into the open creek, which feeds into the canal going through our backyard and then under the building next door. Okay? And so right now,
It's not striped or anything like that, it's just an area that has been used for parking, correct? And because the concern is that they're gonna be striped and they're gonna be actual parking spaces, and so the public will use them.
No, my name's Lee Maniscalco. My wife and I own the building and the property. This goes back kind of a long time when we bought the property. When we got our initial survey, we saw that the parking lot, which has been used forever, was not part of the property. So I came to the city, talked to Wyatt Pugh, and he said, oh yes, fill out this form, get the adjacent property owners to sign it, and then you can purchase that, but you have to own the building first. So we purchased the building with this in mind, went through these steps, and then we didn't know that there was other plans for this in the works at that time. So, this was something we thought, like, this building has no parking at all except for this lot, which has been, there's actually 9 parking spots, because they're not, there's 4 across where you're looking there. On the other side, there's 4 or 5 more people park it up, kind of that angle pointing out kind of this way back into that until the asphalt ends.
depending on how well behaved the parking.
Yeah, the staff parks on that side, so that's why they can pack them in, and then the patients park on there and then out on the street. So our concern is that throughout this whole thing, we're gonna lose 100% of our parking other than what people can find on the street, which is getting harder to
Which is
come by. with-
parking that you didn't own to begin with, correct?
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. But again, came ahead of the purchase, and they said, yes, it shouldn't be a problem, just, fill the form out, do this, and then we'll get it.
Yes. Okay,
So that's the issue, that's the issue that we have. I mean, there's just not.
and you have not contacted the applicant or the property owner to discuss a cross-parking agreement?
Yes, we've been in talks whenever we first heard about this, we've been talking about it. The city owns this, and the developer, after developing it, will not own it. So they said we could not grant us any parking spaces because they weren't theirs to grant.
That's right. Yeah, that's my understanding. The parking spaces you're talking about are actually on public right-of-way. So
Correct.
it has really nothing to do with the property of the applicants tonight.
Except that property will,
I mean, it will be developed and made available for the public.
yes, but the property will push people beyond, because we already have people that are going to the Battery and everywhere else parking in that space where the parking, so the parking is already crowded there.
It's public parking.
Right, it is. So that's what we're we're getting at. It would be nice to limit the additional parking needs in the area.
I'm trying to follow your original concern. If this variance is granted to these applicants, you're wanting some favorable consideration of similar types of variances?
Well, yes, sir. It is, I'm asking that if this board is to grant this variance, okay, and it stands, whatever challenge may ensue, then, but that the deference that is being given here to what seems to be a virtual absence of a true classic legal hardship, or at least one that is not self-imposed, when parking volume is 2x of what is required. And one of the reasons is, in the stated reason, the application, to decrease the buffer from 15 to 5 feet so as to allow for more parking. Yes, that if the applicant here is going to get that variance, that same standard of strict scrutiny be applied to us if and when we try to go back, when we have a canal that we're going to have to build over. We have no dedicated parking spaces on site. Our building is less than a foot from the side property line. It abuts that cinder block wall for the bagel building going backwards. And so it is, you know, I could come in here and be cruise chef, take my shoe off and bound the podium and say there is no basis whatsoever for this variance to be granted. None, no legal basis other than this is gonna be good old Boyd and you're gonna grant it because the people here are a great community supporters and Mr. Shannon's a great developer. That ain't a good enough reason to grant variance, in my opinion. You may say it is. If it is, then we'll see what a jury says in circuit court.
Let me just pause here for a second. So the public portion of this is to tell us if you're in approval or that you may have grievances with this or oppose. And can you just clarify, are you for or oppose on this?
I am for that. If the board is going to approve this, that it adopt whatever the standard is, that standard be applied equally to others who come with light variances in this neighborhood. Because this application for a variance in a community, and Homewood is one of them, Mountain Brook is another, where in Birmingham often is this way, in my experience of 30 years of land use litigation, that they tend to strictly apply the rules and regulations as to what meets a legal hardship. You could have the whole room come and say, I support it, I think it's a great idea. Well, sometimes those people still get turned down because it's self-imposed and they don't have a legal hardship.
And that's
Okay.
why we have the BZA here. We definitely have that criteria, as Ms. Williams had stated there. So we do take every case individually and look at those criteria. So that we're in agreement with that that's the purpose of this. So and in order for us to move forward, we definitely hear your grievance that you are wanting us to take that in consideration for future for redfish properties in that.
Yes, redfish
Okay.
properties, correct.
Okay. And would you like to have anything other to say than that right there, sir?
No, I think we've said it, and I'd run the risk of repeating myself for the 6th time, so I don't want to do that. But it is, I will finish with this, that if from a reasonable application of the standards of what is a legal hardship, we don't think this meets it. If this board chooses to grant that, then we would like it noted, and hopefully the minutes are recorded both electronically and then will be transcribed to reflect our position that the leniency, if you will, given to this applicant will not be unique of others who come in.
Nicely phrased.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank y'all very
And
much.
May we get your name and address? Do you mind writing that down for us for the record?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Would there be any other public participants that would like to come up and share any comments in favor or oppose? Seeing none to approach, we're going to close the public portion down and open it back up here for the board for some questions.
You seem like you might have wanted to say something. Would you want to continue?
Yes, for clarification, we're retail people, and we realize you need to have lots of parking for retail, and Homewood doesn't have that. And so, in terms of the density, we're an acre and a half, building 14,000 square feet. And if you go look at the Valley Hotel and the South Point Bank and the Hero and all that, we're about 50% less dense than everything that's been happening. And that's sort of by design. Alabama Power really want to make sure this was not a controversial thing. And so it is so much less dense than what could be. As you've said, we could, build even bigger because the parking's less. And I'm sort of shocked that they're against it, because if you do the 15 feet, we're going to lose a whole row of parking. It's going to be even worse. And so is that a hardship? I don't know. But, the lot is sort of narrow and very deep the way it is. It fronts Reese and it goes back. And so it is a very, sort of like a rectangle shape. And so the hardship is if implicitly implied by the code, we're going to lose all this parking, which I think is very vital to the area, particularly this area with all the battery and everything else. And so that's all I wanted to say. It was about the density, really.
I had a question about that. So, well, two parts. Is how many spaces would you actually lose if it was 15 feet wide? And if you had to do 15 feet wide and lost those parking spaces, would there be an option for parallel parking?
Yeah, so the space in the back, this back building here, I don't have a pointer, is so efficient because you're coming off the alley. We're not using any land for the drive, and it's angled. That space is very efficient. And you do the building, and you do the spaces in front of that building, well, you have to have a turnout. I think was it 22 feet, 24 feet?
24 feet.
And so if you come back 10 more feet, I guess you could have some parallel, but parallel is very difficult. So if you cut that down in half, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, maybe 30. So you would lose 15 spaces.
So 15 out of 70?
Mm-hmm.
Did you all look at all about trying to make it one-way and get diagonal parking in there to try to increase your parking?
Yeah, we looked at one way coming all the way in this way and exiting by the Bell Center, but there's very insufficient right-of-way, old alleys. The width isn't sufficient. There's a grade differential. And then if you made it one way off Reese Street, and that means if you came off Central, you couldn't make a left-hand turn, you'd have to go right. And then how would you get back around? So yeah, Gonzalez Strengths, we've been working on this for a long time. Cale, I don't see Cale, I don't have my glasses on, but yeah, we've been working with Cale and White for a long time on the site planning. This is about as efficient. This is years of efficiency.
When this
But during
variance-
those years, the way you calculate parking has changed. So they've got twice the amount of parking that is actually required.
When you originally presented this variance, wasn't the bottom section one way or a part of the property a one-way that exited into the alley?
I don't think so, I know of. It looks like it's gonna exit in the alley, but it's about a 10-foot drop. And so the site plan looks like it's right there, but it's actually not gonna, that last car is not gonna be able to exit on that alley. Now the back alley access will exit on the alley.
Yeah, because
Central's at this street.
I thought that street right there,
So-
wasn't there discussion about the properties on the side, about how much would be used when you exited the property in our last discussion?
I just don't remember that.
Oh, I could have remembered that incorrectly.
And part of it was the Bell Center didn't want it, and it just made sense, the 10-foot, I guess we could have worked with the grades, but, if the building's one grade, you didn't have an access issue, if you'd have to drop 10 feet from, that's probably what, 5 feet, 4 feet from there, 10 feet's probably the height of the ceiling, that's a big drop.
Just if it was one way, if you could make the one-way work, then your drive lane could be narrower too, because you're not having to have two cars go back and forth.
If the alley can't be any narrower, it's already 21 feet, it's kind of a
You
minimum.
mean the Crescent Central alley?
Crescent.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm talking about the actual, would that be,
Right. I'm saying if you push the
the other
building
side.
over,
no, I'm saying if the building stayed where it was and you were to make the main lot on the left side one way, couldn't you make the drive lane narrower because you have less cars, and so it's, and
I
then,
think
and then
the traffic
if you
engineering,
did.
Reese Street's more capable of handling all this traffic than
maybe about 6
coming
feet.
out that little alley
Yeah.
between those. I think those people would have, be a riot, those people, all that traffic entering that old alley.
As far as the use of the parking lot, currently it's being used by other commercial entities in the area. What is the plan for the spaces? Are they going to be just for these retail spots? Are there going to be signs that say no
Yes,
parking?
they'll be, very, very hard to police parking spaces. We, own Independence Plaza, and it seems to be the parking lot for the Homewood. And it's very, unless you have a policeman out there, you can't. And we own Merchants Walk, it's the same. And so we would not give somebody the right to park in the parking lot for legal reasons. It's very hard to stop people unless these small developments just don't make sense to have a policeman there year-round. We did agree a long time ago that we would not let any of our leases say that we'd make the employees park in that right-of-way we're creating for Dr. Maniscalco. So at least, the traffic generally for a shopping center really begins around 10:30. If you have some restaurant, food, beverage, health and wellness, and it goes way past the hours of a dentist. And so we feel like we're adding more spaces. And then since then, the city's added spaces along Central in front of Noel Daniels, in front of Old Caliber, and so there's a lot of parking. Now, it does get used, but there's a lot more parking today than there was when we started 6 years ago. A lot more. Yeah, all those spaces weren't there that I remember.
You mentioned time of use, so as far as the uses that you have there, are they uses, is there kind of a shared use as far as time of day with the type of tenant mix that you're looking at? When you're calculating how many parking places you all think you need, are you factoring in, daytime uses versus primarily evening uses? Are the restaurant uses, I see there's a proposal of a bakery, I don't know if that's real or if that's just for the rendering, but are you thinking daytime use restaurants as well as evening use restaurants, or how are you looking at the parking mix as far as how to handle your own tenant parking?
Yeah, so we try to do a pretty good job. There's a center on 280 in Mountain Brook that used to have Chappie's Deli, now it's got Verizon's and Moe's, and so we basically limited that to 2 big food uses. And so that center's bigger. So here, we really got some really good health and wellness concepts, and we really are being patient. The restaurant sort of defines your center. You put a crappy restaurant there, you're done as so we're really gonna be patient. We may not even get the restaurant until after we're halfway finished. And so we're gonna be very picky and realize that, if you have a nice restaurant that's real heavy at night, like a Jim Marco's, then you can maybe get another guy in there for breakfast and lunch. But we're we're very well aware that, you can't fill us up with all restaurants. Right now, we don't have any signed leases. We've got about 40% between 2 tenants that are all health and wellness.
Mr. Shan, I apologize to interrupt, but can you speak directly into the microphone? The audience can't hear what's going on.
I
And
can't
also
hear
for
very well either.
members, please speak directly into the microphone.
Yeah. So, we're not, the idea of filling all this up at restaurants just doesn't make sense. And so far, we've got Crawford Square, which y'all know, doing the leasing, and we've got 2 LOIs from Health and Wellness for the building closest to the Bell Center. And we're really saving that front building across from the grocery to a really special restaurant that we think can really define how special a center is. So, and the way the market is today, with interest rates being a little bit higher, construction costs, it won't be somebody, it'll be somebody that, a quality tenant, you know, your bad boy tenants just can't afford the rent here.
Just, this is to staff, can you remind us of the change that was made as far as the parking requirements? What was the thought process behind changing what the requirements were for retail?
Sure, speak to it.
If you wouldn't mind refreshing my memory.
Yeah, we changed it mainly because we were requiring way more parking than our sister cities. And we were requiring that you park the entire building. The standard is typically that you're able to remove areas from the building that you shouldn't have to provide parking for. The lobby, for instance, or restrooms and stairwells and elevator shafts, those types of things. You can remove all of those areas from the square footage of the building when you're parking, for your parking calculations. So that's why we made the change. So now you don't have to have as many. See, if it would be different if they were here a few years ago requesting a variance to the parking calculation, which a lot of people did, because, you know, what we were doing just didn't make a whole lot of sense. We had to tweak it.
Well, so then and before, was it the same similar size buildings, and it was just applying kind of a gross square footage to the entire footprint? And now you're asking the applicant to go through and just take the actual square footage of retail that's exclusive and not inclusive of community bathrooms or something like that? Is that how it's, where the new number?
So we would look at what their required parking is. And if all they had on their site was the required parking and everything that they are required to have on their site, then they may not need a variance to the landscape requirements, because they are over parking the site, which they are choosing to do. The zoning ordinance is not requiring them to have the number of parking spaces that they are choosing to have. So choosing to have the number of parking spaces over the requirement is not allowing them to meet the requirement for the landscaping. Did that answer your question?
Was your question more so what is the difference between how it was calculated, whether it's just gross versus net, or also the count?
Right, gross versus net, and then I was looking at the documents back again for the count.
Yeah, the count is also what changed. So we changed it from gross to net and then significantly downsized some uses. So I think restaurant was like 20 per something. So retail and restaurant also.
The required spots per square footage changed as well.
As well as shopping center, which is what this is. But I think originally when they came through, their parking was by use, and because this is considered a shopping center, their parking is calculated for shopping center square footage. So
And not for use.
previously they had to have so many for each retail tenant, so many for each restaurant tenant, but now it's considered a shopping center. So it's the whole square footage is calculated in.
And so, just to clarify, I apologize, I should probably know this, but
You're good.
the shopping center parking count use, is that a new classification?
No.
Or it's always been there?
It's always been there. It's just,
But they weren't designated as shopping center last time they came?
I don't think they did it that way before.
So the applicant is choosing to call it shopping center?
Well, we're doing it.
We're not, but yeah.
It is a shopping center.
It's two
They
buildings.
cannot, I mean, it is a shopping center because it meets the it meets the definition of a shopping center. And, I don't know that the parking calculation is a whole lot different from, it just means that if he chooses to change a retail space into a restaurant, he's not going to have to add additional parking spaces to meet that requirement because he would not meet it.
Right,
So a shopping center is a benefit.
Yes, because they don't have to go back in 4 years and they change their use.
Right.
The new tenant, so it's pre-approved.
Right, we don't have to look at each use each time,
That makes sense. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, sadly, with the variance we got 2 years ago, we were ready to go. We wanted to make sure we got some pre-leasing done, and then now I think we're by definition a shopping center, because I think what triggered it were 2 buildings. It's 2 or more buildings. So I don't view this is a small little boutique center, but by definition, 2 buildings or more, we're a shopping center, which, by the way, if we get approved tonight, we still have to go get the development plan approved all over again. So there's a whole nother level of, and is it the planning commission looks at that?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a whole nother set of eyes looking at all the things that we've talked about tonight. Should have started 2 years ago.
I'll move we vote to approve case SV 25-1204.
I'll second that.
And may I clarify, and that's fine, Mr. Gear. In the absence of Mr. Johnson, the supernumeraries will be alternating their votes on the cases. So we'll begin and let Mr. Gear participate in tonight's vote on this case, and then Mr. Young will vote on the next one. So you may make that
You want me to do
motion.
it again?
You may make that motion. No, that's fine.
I move we vote to approve case SV 25-1204, 1707 Reese Street.
And it was seconded by Ms. Han?
Yes, I will second that.
All right. All right. Ms. Childs?
No.
Mr. Nieves?
No.
Ms. Hand?
No.
Mr. Gear?
No.
And Mr. Perkel?
No. The nays have it here. Your motion is denied. If you have any questions, you can contact Ms. Emily Harris on the next steps. Thank you for your time. We're going to move on to our next case, which is new business. We've got BZA-25-0012. That's 3410 Avalon Road. Please approach the podium, state your name and address, and please write that down as well.
And as a reminder, please speak directly into your microphones so everyone in the audience can hear what we're saying. I know we're moving around, asking lots of questions, but we want to make sure everyone can hear.
Come up here, Nate. Good evening. My name is Robert Drum. I am the resident at 3410 Avalon Road. This is Nate Nowak. He's with Live Oak Construction. We are coming to you this evening to request a variance. We bought this house, just a little bit of background, we bought this house in 2018. That was before we had 3 children. Now we have 3 children, my wife and I, Sloan, who's in the back there. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that was built in 1956. So we, when we were deciding that if we wanted to have more children, we understood that at some point we were going to have to figure out if we wanted to move or if we wanted to stay in this house. We love our neighborhood. We love our neighbors. So we worked with Nate on some renovations previously. We put a lot of time and effort into this house. We really feel like this is our house that we want to stay in, and we're not interested in trying to move. We love our school system. We love Shades Cahaba. So we are looking at adding on a 4th bedroom, and we can't go back. We can't go out to the side. The only logical place for us to go out is into the front. So when you talk about hardship, we feel that our hardship is that if you go onto our street, the street kind of curves into our lot. So it kind of puts us at a disadvantage. Our lot in the front is not straight. Nate has worked with with a surveyor that actually if you took our lot from the point A on the right side and drew a straight line to the lot point B on the left side, straight and not curved like the street, it would actually be about a little over 42 feet. And we wouldn't be coming to you for this variance. I said that, right, Nate? That's accurate?
Correct. The surveyor believes that if the property line were straight from across the front setback, that we wouldn't even need a variance, that the addition they'd like to build would be within their required.
Yeah, so, yeah, like I said, we've grown to love this area. I was looking at the appraisal, when I was trying to figure out if it was built in 1956, and they actually put on the appraisal that it's an irregular lot size as well. It's a wide lot. When we did our original survey, it was actually 2 lots that we combined into one. So we've done all of those steps, but there's really only one logical place for us to come and add this addition, and it's kind of out towards the front. All of our bedrooms are on that side as well. So from a flow standpoint of the house, it just makes sense to add it to that side. That's really the only place we could put it from a functionality standpoint, as well as just the front aesthetics of the house as well. So, but like I said, we kind of feel like we're at a hardship, at a disadvantage, just the way the street kind of curves into our lot, and kind of takes up some of our space. So,
Thank you for sharing that. Is there any other
Nate, could you
comments or
sign that?
anything you'd like to add to your presentation here before we open it up to the public?
so Nate, you got anything else? I think we're
I'll take that as
We're good.
a nay. We are going to close it down and open it up here to the public. Would anybody in the public there have any comments, questions, or would like to come speak? Please do so. Do not see anyone approaching. We'll close the public portion down and open up here to the board for questions.
Could you explain the curve more to me? Because the part where you're building the house looks like the part of the curve that's furthest from your house.
I don't know if you bring up the survey. Oh, okay, yeah, I mean, the way, all I know is that if you took a line from all the way from our right, all the way to our left, it would, I don't know if, it would expand by a few feet. If you just took it straight from the left side straight to the right side, at a straight angle, it would expand. So,
Oh, but couldn't you say the same thing? Like if you went from your driveway where your properties and you went straight across, it'd be even shorter?
I'm not quite sure. I was just looking at the lot
Yeah,
end to the lot end. If we were on a straight street,
Oh, yeah, but if you're saying you're on the street, you're picking the furthest distance versus where the curve cuts in. It could go either way, right? If it was straight.
I don't really know how surveys, what's required of surveys. I mean, I just know that we did that same line from where it was, and, right, Nate? I mean,
Correct. If the lot was more rectangular with the front setback being a straight line, like I said, the surveyor confirmed that the setback would get us about 4 more feet, but due to the curve in the road, that's what kicked us over into needing.
that's our neighbor's survey. The other one is our survey. So that's what we were saying. If we just took a straight line from one end to one end, like if we were on a straight street from the one side of the lot to the other side of the lot, it would just it would add enough feet for us to not even have to be here.
You have, you've got 2 drawings here in our packet, a proposed addition, and then also one that says the compliant plan included with the application.
That was just showing the difference, yeah.
What do you mean the difference, sorry?
But I think, Nate, you put that in there
I
just to
think-
show what would be.
Yeah, so that's the floor plan that they would like to move forward with. So we're coming out 21 feet at the furthest point, but with the current front setback, we can only come out 17.5 feet.
Mhm.
So that's where the 3.5-foot variance comes into play.
Gotcha.
And to clarify, there's no real, I mean, I guess it says proposed floor plan, but, I mean, if we can't get this variance, having a 9-foot wide bedroom is not really something that, you know, from a master bedroom standpoint, from an addition standpoint, that we would probably even really entertain. I mean, all of our bedrooms are about the same size, you know. Our house was built in 1956. I'm using 4 closets around our house, so just trying to add a master bathroom and a master closet, that's applicable in today's day and age. This is kind of the floor plan we feel that we need to be able to fit everything.
May I ask the question just to clarify? You mentioned that going front is the only method that you saw. If you were to go into the rear, is there anything that would prohibit you from having an, I guess, addition to the rear?
I don't think we would be able to add on to the back from a setback standpoint. I mean, it would have to take a lot of reconfiguration of our house. Our back 2 bedrooms, like if you're looking at the back of our house, it's a bedroom, and then the kitchen. So we'd have to, a lot more reconfiguration, reducing the size of our bedrooms to add a hallway. But I don't even think, there's a large tree there and then a shed, but I don't think that to be able to add, I think we would run into setback issues in the rear in our lot line.
That's what I was just trying to
Yeah.
confirm, that y'all have
Yeah.
looked at that and see that there could be
Yes.
setback issues there
Yeah, I
as
mean,
well.
that was initially what our initial thought was. And then when we started looking at, it's not even gonna fit with a setback, and also just other logistical problems.
Thank you.
Did y'all look into building into the carport or like a second story?
Building into from a functionality standpoint, building into the carport, Nate actually just did a renovation for us. Our laundry was outside, we enclosed it. We enclosed our screened-in porch. Anything that way, we would not be able to from a setback standpoint as well. I mean, that's all very, very close to our neighbors. Going up, for 1 bedroom, from a logistical and financial standpoint, it doesn't make sense for us to go up and try and add 1 bedroom. When we bought the house, there was actually some foundation issues as well. We had to add maybe 5 pillars or so. I don't know if that's the right word. So, you know, adding on to a house that we knew was built in 1956 that had some foundation issues. Now, we haven't had any foundations issues since we've done that, but just trying to add on top of what we already have wasn't something that we really wanted to entertain.
What was the setback on the carport side? Because right here I'm seeing 17 feet.
Well, I'm not sure, I don't want to enclose our carport and build a bedroom. I mean, that's where we enter, we have a study there and a kitchen. I don't know how logistically we would make that work.
But you could build there if you got rid of.
Enclose our carport?
If you got rid of part of the carport, it's not a matter of the setback, right?
I don't think, what's the setback on the side? What's the Homewood setback on the side, 5 feet?
It would be a 10-foot requirement for the.
10 foot? So I don't know,
You have 17.8 on your drawings from the edge of your house or this foundation to your setback.
can you bring
Right.
up the drawing for me?
But the total amount of space of the carport is not 17 feet.
Yeah,
Right.
that's not what I'm asking.
So the 17 feet is from the laundry room,
Yeah.
which is, so the carport is actually much closer to the.
Oh, yeah, I'm asking, from the edge of your current home, it's 17 feet, according to these drawings. If you extended that to a 10-foot setback, you could. You're saying that you can't build there because of setback, but you actually can. Am I misunderstanding the drawings? You can, right?
So you're saying enclose our carport,
You would have to take up part of your carport.
we'd have to take up,
You're saying it's the setback, but it really isn't the setback. It's that you don't want to get rid of your carport, right?
I don't even think, yeah, I'm not sure.
Our
I'm just
carport is,
talking purely on, you're saying that you can't build there because of setback, and I'm just clarifying that you actually can. You actually can.
I'd have to look at some more numbers because we enclosed our screen-in porch. I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at it. I mean, we barely fit 2 cars in our carport currently, so I'm not sure how that would be 17 feet. And I mean, I'd have to go look at that. Yeah, I mean, that's our main entrance to our house. I'm not, right, that's an old picture. I mean, that screen-in porch is now our study. We've enclosed that gap that you can see there, and that's our laundry room.
Would you mind pulling up the floor plan one more time?
The compliant one or the
That one.
non-compliant one? Okay.
So to the left of the living is our kitchen's in the back, and there's a dining room and then a study.
You said earlier that if you could only build a 9-foot wide bedroom, it wouldn't make any sense.
Well, just from our standpoint, I mean, all of our other bedrooms are about 12 by 12. I mean, just if we're looking to add on and make this a true master bedroom, we just feel like we just want it the same width as all of our other bedrooms in the house.
But I don't understand how the width is being affected.
No, that's just our, I'm sorry.
I don't understand how, because it's the length of the addition that is making you go into the setback, not the width, so.
Well, I mean, well, I'm sorry.
So I was
It's
just
the
trying.
length. When I was thinking of it, I was looking at it as, I guess, length to your point.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
I meant the 12, reducing one of the sides to 9 feet.
So making the addition
Like
3
if you're looking
feet
at it right
shorter.
there, like if, I was just saying if you
Three-
reduce that by 3 feet,
by 3 feet.
that would be
So-
just a 9-foot by, I guess, 19-foot. Yeah, the width is not the problem, it's just,
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
trying
I'm
to
sorry.
figure out, yeah,
yeah.
okay,
Or if you just reconfigured your bathroom to not be as big, and
yeah.
you don't have to take it with, you don't have to take all the square footage out of the bedroom. There's no issue with it.
Hey, I'm Sloan Drum, the wife, also part owner. I'll do it. 3.5 feet doesn't seem like a whole lot from the outside. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Sorry. But we have looked at different configurations. Y'all aren't seeing it today, but we've looked, we've kind of just drawn out some things here and there. Our house is not super big, but we love our house. We've brought all of our kids home from there to there, and I know this isn't the point, but to us, we just want a regular size master. We want a walk-in closet. It's not even a big walk-in closet, it's actually small. But we want to be able to live in our house with our 3 beautiful kids and be able to go into a place where we are not crammed so far into our master bedroom. Talking about the carport, option, that's really not an option. Anybody who knows in Homewood, there's not a lot of parking anywhere. That would devalue the amount of our house. That might not be a hardship, I guess, but it would devalue our house a ton to close in our two-car carport. We use that all, I mean, like, getting the kids in and out from school. I know other people don't have to do that, but, I mean, that would be tragic to our house as well. So, like, and it's also not that big. We would not be able to have an actual bedroom. And how's he saying, that is a separate entrance. We have a door that comes into the carport. It goes right into our study, right into our dining room, right into our kitchen right there. And it just would not fit the style of our house. If y'all are looking at this, we would bump that out. That's kind of a different drawing than obviously what we've talked about since then if we are able to do it. But it would be more of a porch. Where y'all are seeing the entrance into our primary, that's our current front door that we would move. It would just all look much better. And from the street, y'all, like, people walking by wouldn't notice the 3.5 feet. I know that's not the point, but like interior, to be able to have that space, to live in that space, to not have a 9-foot smaller, he's talking about 9 foot because it's 12 feet that way. But like, yes, we could take some feet each way, and we've talked about that, but if we take even a foot, we can't have, the walk-in or the bathtub space to be able to do that separately. And I know that those are all different things, but it just means a lot to us, that's all. I don't know. Sorry. All right. Sorry. I don't even know where I was going with all that.
And the plan that's drawn, the compliant plan, you're essentially making it wider instead of deeper and moving the front door, correct?
That's right. I mean, honestly, if we were to not get this variance, I'm not sure if we would move forward, but that would be another option.
It's just to go wider.
Yeah, go wider, and honestly, that would.
Across the front to the right edge of the door.
Yeah.
And make all of that master and then
yes, and
bump
we'd
the
have to
door
reconfigure
over.
the whole living room. It would, honestly, from a proposed plan standpoint, like I don't know what we would do, because that would drastically make the front of our house, for lack of a better term, look short and squatty, and like go into our living space, and like I just don't think we would probably go that route.
If there are no further questions, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to move to approve, let's see here, which is this? BZA, no, yep, 25-0012, 3410 Avalon Road.
I will second that.
All right. And in this case, Mr. Young, you'll be participating in this case, and Mr. Gill will not. All right? Ms. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Nieves?
Yes.
Ms. Hand?
No.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mr. Perkel?
Yes. The ayes have it, the motion carries. Your variance will be approved here. If you have any questions, contact Emily Harris.
Thank you.
Miller, thank you. Move to our last case here, which is BZA 25-0015, which is 300 Woodland Drive. Please approach and state your name and address and write that down for us, please.
Sure. My name is Paul Tiber. This is my wife, Patricia. We're at 300 Woodland Drive, pictured here. We're here to ask for a variance to repair a fence that runs along our secondary front on Roseland Drive. This is a 30-plus-year-old fence that has definitely reached its ends of life. And we feel that there are various reasons for requesting a variance for this. Pictured here is our property. Woodland Drive is our front, and as I said before, Roseland, our house runs along on the corner of Roseland, and Roseland serves as our secondary front. That is a common thoroughfare for foot traffic to Edgewood School. We're about a block away from Edgewood School. My wife and I have been here for over 25 years. We bought this house in 1999. We've raised 2 girls in this house very proudly, both of which attended the Homewood City School Systems. Both marched in the Homewood Patriot Marching Band. One served in the choir, show choir. What's unique about our property is the extensive front garden that you see here. You can see aged trees on the left and above the house, the big tree in the back. Those are factors into why we want to ask for a variance, not to maintain the fence in its original position. We can move to the next slide, please. So with the interest of improving the neighborhood's look and feel in our backyard, we're looking to repair an old fence. And upon submitting our permit request to the 4th floor, we learned of a 9-foot variance required for the fence that we would want to repair and restore. The 2023 ordinance rule would prevent us from maintaining the original fence as it exists today. And we feel that by meeting the 9-foot setback and removing the fence where it is now, actually it presents us unnecessary hardship and compromises the health, safety, and welfare of the pedestrians, as we'll see in a few pictures in the next slides. Were we to conform with the setback, we would be deprived of rights commonly enjoyed by other property owners by reducing our lot pretty significantly, by 20% by our calculation. So if we can move to the next slide, we can begin to discuss some specifics about these, the situation. Can we move to the next slide, please? There we go. No, I'm sorry, we can go back? So as I talked about the heavy children.
You're right.
Okay. She's the professor here, so she knows more than me, so I defer to her. So let's talk about the burdens and the unnecessary hardships. The right picture gives you a look at our backyard. You're facing west, so you're facing the school. You're facing Broadway, if we could go outside of that fence. You can see the lovely fence that's deteriorating and falling out. You'll notice the tree that exists in that back lot, all the vegetation in the garden that we've established. You'll see an arrow pointing to a little plumb line that I put in the picture. That represents a compliant fence. So were we to build a fence on that plumb line, we would lose access to all of this space that currently we enjoy. There's a grill, there's a deck, there's a flagstone path, there's a tree that were we to build a fence in the new compliant line, we would drill into the ground with new fence posts, which will disrupt the root system. I'll tell you, we've invested pretty heavily in maintaining those trees. We've paid an arborist to inject nutrients deep into the base of those trees to restore them. Luckily, our mistletoe and the dropped limbs have ceased, so we would prefer not to jeopardize an aging tree that I think the entire community enjoys based upon the declining canopy of our neighborhood. You'll see a little dog there that we want to provide access to. He's our 3rd member of the family, my favorite, to be honest. We can move to the next slide, please. So the unnecessary burden and hardship would be to completely redesign this space. We think that it would be a hardship to the pedestrians that are walking on that area were that fence to be moved from its position that it is now. You'll see in the next slide the side yard that that fence runs along that would have to be redesigned and refactored as well. We have a pea gravel flagstone path that we use to hide our garbage cans, which I think the pedestrians appreciate. So really the hardship is loss of that space. Our lot is 49 feet wide, like most of the lots in Edgewood, and having a 9-foot loss of that space just seems to be extreme.
Next slide.
Thank you. So apologies for the small slides here. I didn't realize how badly they would appear, but the 3 slides kind of illustrate our points as well. So the first, starting at the left, this is that side yard that I was just describing. You're still looking west toward Edgewood School, but you're taken about 10 feet back from the middle picture that you saw previously. That's the hiding spot for our garbages. That's the area between the property line and the new proposed fence. Were we to comply with the 9-foot setback, that all goes away. We would lose use of that effectively. That would open up to the public because that barrier would be gone. Again, the middle picture is pointing out the tree that we don't want to interfere with its root system. The rightmost picture is looking the opposite way, so you're looking east now toward Woodland Drive. You're looking at that same gravel pit area where the garbage cans are, and you'll see that that yellow dotted line represents where C-Spire fiber cable is coming into the house. So that would be exposed to the public. That yellow arrow represents, where the utility connections are into the house, and the fence would have to be built even inside of the structure beyond that arrow. 9 feet actually is about midpoint of the breaker box that you see. There's the electrical service panel, the breaker box, and then the window. All of this seems to be excessive harm to us, excessive burden to us. Losing that space, opening up that to the public, if you will. So for these reasons, we feel we are uniquely burdened in encountering unnecessary harm were we to comply with the 9-foot setback. Next slide, please. These pictures represent our immediate Roseland neighbors, each of whom have a fence that follows their property line, none of which adhere to the 9-foot setback. Were we to suddenly adhere to the setback, I think disrupts the harmony of our neighborhood. So 217 Broadway, 301 Broadway, 216 Woodland, right across Roseland from us, all of those properties follow the fence on the property line, like what we are asking. And then lastly, down the street from us, down the hill, past the pink house, the 300 Edgewood Boulevard also has a non-conforming fence. Last slide. These are examples we understand of previously approved variance exceptions whereby fences that run along street right-of-way do not meet the 9-foot setback. 212 Broadway is just right across the street from Edgewood School. And then lastly, the 408 Hambaugh example. So for these reasons, we're asking your variance request so that we can maintain, we're not asking for any exceptions to, or we're not trying to build anything elaborate. We're trying to simply replace that eyesore and maintain the beauty of the neighborhood, which we recognize the zoning board helps us achieve. If we were to move that fence, you can see all the vegetation in the garden that exists to the left of the fence. That's suddenly open to the public to walk. There's a heavy traffic that goes to and from school every day. So having them with the ability to get to our service panels, that unpaved section, if the fence has to move, for all of those reasons, we're asking to maintain the fence along the position that it does. I think the very final slide can give you a before and after look. This is certainly the before look. The after look is on the right picture. So we did submit a permit request for the interior fence, and this is what we built. And our interest is to continue that look and that feel on the other side of the property, which would run along the Roseland Drive secondary front. Any questions for us?
Well, I would like to give the public an opportunity to participate and provide any feedback. So please state your name and address in the microphone and write it down for us.
My name is Christina Ochsenbauer, and I live at 303 Woodland Drive, which is catty corner across the street, so one house away from the corner. I've lived in that house since 1998. I'm another very long-term resident of the street, and I have known Paul and Patricia since about a month after they moved in, and I have to say they're some of my closest friends. So I'm here to support their application for the variance. What I want to say in their support is that we too have sent a child to Edgewood Elementary, and because we live so close, we have walked for 6 years every day to school, back and forth. And we see every day all the kids walking back and forth to school. And I can assure you that the kids and their parents will not stay on the sidewalks where there is no fence. If you go at the corner of Broadway and Roseland, the grass is always missing at the end of the school year because everybody cuts through there, because the traffic is so heavy. So if you have a setback fence that is suddenly 9 feet away from where the sidewalk is, there is absolutely no way that the little kids that go to school and their little siblings that walk with them to and from school will stay off that property. And de facto, they will lose use of their property. I've also known them long enough to know that we have had many celebrations in the backyard where big tables were set up, where families gathered for high school graduations, baptisms, whatnot, wedding anniversaries. This backyard is very heavily used, and it is very lovingly landscaped. And to take away about 20% of their usable backyard space for people who have bought this house in 1999, 25 years before, nearly before this ordinance was changed, seems to me a really unusual hardship that should be considered in allowing them to just repair the fence. They have the option not to fix the fence, right? But they don't want to do that. They want to actually make it look better. The fence that you saw in the last picture, it looks great. If you walk down the back alley, you can actually see it, and it's a beautiful fence. They have invested a lot of thought into that and what it would look like, and it will make it better. It would protect their property. It would probably protect the people who walk along the sidewalk all the way. And on the thoroughfare where a lot of people drive through, it would look nice and not suddenly expose a house, the side of the house and the trash cans and everything to the full view. And you can't put the trash cans in the back because they don't get picked up anymore. You have to put them on the front side of Woodland Drive. So to ask them to put their trash cans in the back of their property so they're not on the side of their now exposed house, I think is not reasonable. I don't think anybody of you would want to do that on a rainy day in Alabama. So that's what I have to say. Also that they have invested a lot of time and energy in saving the trees on their property. And we have done the same at our property. We actually came here some years ago to ask for a variance for addition so that we did not have to take down a 100-year-old tree. And I think these are all valid concerns. We are long-term residents. We want to stay in our homes. We want to make this neighborhood beautiful and safe for everyone. And I hope that you will give that consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. And will you please write your name? Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else from the public would like to?
I have one other comment. This is my wife, so I live in the same house across the street from Paul and Patricia, and they are both my friends. My name's John Kappas. What Paul didn't tell you is how much he loves that yard. And well, maybe he told you that. What I'm getting at that he didn't tell you, he has just recently retired, and he spends a lot of time in that yard. I see him almost every morning out on the street with that new dog, and that's home for them. Home for Paul, and I shouldn't exclude Patricia. She's out there every weekend pulling weeds and things too. This yard is part of their home, and to lose, I was a farmer when I grew up, so I have an attachment to land. To lose 20% of it, I think that's a real hardship and should be taken seriously.
Thank you. Could you write your name, please? And we will close the public portion down, and open for the board for any questions here. Just wanted to confirm that you're proposing, from what I read here, is to repair the fence. So you're going to replace picketing, or can you explain what
Yes.
your plan is?
The plan is to keep the posts as is. Now, there's 2 posts that need some work because they're tilted, but we want to preserve the posts in the positions that they're in so that we don't disrupt the root system. We will replace the pickets with pressure-treated lumber, encapsulated top, just like if we go back a slide or two.
Yeah, the last slide.
Well, keep going. A little forward, please. One more. 2 more. 1 more. There's the before and after. 1 more. There we go.
There it is.
So, yeah, keep the posts, but put in horizontal pickets.
Y'all's proposal is for a 4-foot high
Yes, sir.
fence? What is it currently?
That is an 8-foot cedar fence currently.
Any reason for the dramatic halving of the,
You know, I think it's too isolating to have an 8-foot fence. I don't think that, you know, the harmony of the neighborhood is not established through a 8-foot fence.
Yeah, we never felt like we needed that much privacy, and we actually like people walking by and saying hello. And also, we purposely put the space in between the sideways thing, pickets, whatever, so that we have airflow. Because one of the things when you have your whole yard kind of sectioned off with a lot of vegetation is it gets very still. And so we were trying to increase airflow in the area. Just things you think about when you've lived somewhere a long time.
And the dog can't jump.
Is the 8-foot currently to the top of the post?
I think that's what he's saying, to the
Yeah.
top of the,
So the current fence, it's 8 foot to the top of the post?
so is it
Yeah.
really like 6 feet and then those weird posts are,
Will you
make
cut the,
it?
are you gonna cut the post? I was curious. Are you gonna
Oh,
cut the post down so that
yeah,
they're not
absolutely.
4
Yeah.
foot higher than the fence?
Correct.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
where did y'all get the information about the handball and Broadway fences? Do y'all know that those are variances given by the board?
I got that information. I contacted Nick Sims when we found out about it, and he sent me a picture of those 2 things. Two houses.
And they were granted variance?
That's what he told me. He said these are recent ones that were granted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I found no record of variances for any of those fences, except for there is a fence, I think it was 212 Broadway, city council granted, yeah, the one on the left right there, city council granted that variance for the fence on 212 Broadway. But we dug through all of our records and we couldn't find
Okay.
records of variances.
I took Nick's information at face value. I didn't do the research.
Totally understandable, yeah.
Did they approve it because that's when the fences were under their purview?
Yes, the variance for 212 Broadway was in 2022, which is when the fence ordinance was managed by city council. So at the end of 2022 is when it became a part of the zoning ordinance, which is when it started coming to you guys.
I'll make a motion to approve case number BZA 25-0015, 300 Woodland Drive.
I'll second.
All right. And Mr. Gear, you'll be voting on this. Okay. All right, Ms. Childs.
Yes.
Mr. Nieves.
Yes.
Ms. Hand.
No.
Mr. Gear.
Yes.
Mr. Perkel.
Yes. The ayes have it there, and motion carries. You have any questions there, you can talk with Ms. Emily Harris-Miller.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Miss Emily has been really helpful, so I just want to say that. Yeah.
How sweet.
Last two, or last, any communications from staff that you would like to share with?
I would love to remind you all of the comprehensive plan kickoff that is going to be happening on January 28th. I emailed you guys, and I think the city will be posting more about it, but there will be a kickoff on the 28th in the council chambers at 6 o'clock. There will be a presentation by the consultant who we are working with for the plan. And then the following day, there will be kind of like an open house with the consultant at the senior center, is that right, Amy? Where residents can come, ask questions, you guys can come, give input. That will be the first of 4 of the same sort of meetings. So we would love for you guys to join.
And when I got your email, I had a question for you about that.
Sure.
Could I bring students?
Yeah,
Yes, but it's a public meeting.
it's open to the public, so
Yeah.
absolutely.
Teaching limit.
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you, and if there's anything else?
I think that's it from us.
All right, we'll adjourn.